2025, America stands at a crossroads. A silent giant has been growing in the shadows, the US national debt. Now surpassing $35 trillion, the question is no longer if this debt will matter, but when. Welcome to Golden Shadow. Today we dive deep into the growing US debt crisis and why the next global shock could begin at home. What is the US debt crisis? Let's start with the basics. The US government spends more money than it collects in taxes. To cover the gap, it borrows by issuing Treasury bonds. This debt is now over 120% of the entire US GDP. To put that into perspective, imagine earning $50,000 a year, but owing over $60,000 and still borrowing more. This debt isn't just numbers on a screen, it means more interest payments. In 2024 alone, the US paid $1 trillion in interest, more than it spent on national defense. How did we get here? Three major forces brought us here. 1. Chronic overspending. Wars, tax cuts, stimulus packages, both parties contributed. 2. The 2008 financial crisis and COVID-19. Bailouts and relief checks added trillions to the balance sheet. 3. Rising interest rates. As rates climbed to fight inflation, debt servicing costs exploded. And now the US is trapped in a vicious cycle. More debt, higher interest, more borrowing. The risk when debt becomes a crisis. Debt itself isn't the problem. But when investors lose confidence, that's when crisis hits. Think of Greece in 2010 or the UK pension panic in 2022. One trigger and yields spike, markets panic, governments scramble. Could it happen in the US? Technically no. The US prints its own currency. But printing money too fast fuels inflation, and inflation is a tax on everyone. The global fallout. Why does US debt matter globally? Because the dollar is still the world's reserve currency. More than 60% of global reserves are held in USD. Commodities are priced in dollars. Countries borrow in dollars. Markets rely on treasuries as risk-free assets. A US default, or even a downgrade, could spark massive capital flight, liquidity shortages, and global recession. The shift away from the dollar. As US debt grows and political instability rises, many nations are quietly taking action, reducing their reliance on the dollar. Case 1. Russia and China. Over 70% of trade between them is now settled in yuan and rubles. Russia holds more Chinese yuan in reserve than dollars. Case 2. Brazil and China. They've created a clearinghouse to trade directly in RMB and Brazilian real, bypassing the dollar entirely. Case 3. BRICS currency proposal. BRICS nations are discussing a new joint trading currency, still early, but a direct challenge to the dollar-based system. Saudi Arabia's signal. The unthinkable is becoming real. Saudi Arabia is open to selling oil in currencies other than the dollar, especially the yuan. This threatens the petrodollar system that has anchored US financial dominance for 50 years. This is not a dollar collapse, but it's clear. De-dollarization is no longer theoretical. It's happening. The debt ceiling drama. You've heard it in the news, the debt ceiling crisis. It's not just political theater, it's a real risk. When Congress fails to raise the ceiling in time, the US technically risks default. That nearly happened in 2011 and 2023, sparking market chaos. A true default could trigger a global financial earthquake. The real cost. Here's what mounting debt means for you. 1. Higher taxes in the future. 2. Reduced government services. 3. Inflation risk. 4. Weaker dollar and buying power. 5. Lower growth as debt crowds out investment. Is there a way out? Yes, but it won't be easy. Option 1. Fiscal discipline. Cut spending or raise taxes, but politically painful. Option 2. Grow the economy. Innovation, immigration, infrastructure, but growth alone can't erase debt. Option 3. Inflate it away. Let inflation erode debt. Risky, hurt savers and poor the most. There's no silver bullet. Only choices and consequences. The US debt crisis isn't just a number, it's a mirror reflecting decades of decisions. Will we face it now or let the shadow grow? The US debt burst isn't a single moment. It's a slow pressure build until one day it explodes. As trust in the dollar slowly erodes, the world is preparing its plan B. The only question is, will America act in time? This is Golden Shadow, where every boom has a shadow and every crisis leaves a signal. See you next time.